Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world. So today, we're diving into a classic, Richard Bach's Jonathan Livingston Seagull. But we're not just here to talk about the story itself. Nope, we're going to use its really simple narrative as a kind of structural model to unpack something huge, how the systems all around us actually regulate our perception of what's even possible.
So here's our game plan. First, we'll define the flock system. Then, we'll look at why anyone would conform and what happens when they don't. We'll ask why a system like this lasts. And then, we'll bring it all back to the world you and I live in.
Okay, let's get right into it. What exactly is the system that Jonathan was born into? What are its rules? What's its purpose? Well, for the flock, life is incredibly simple. It's about one thing: eating. The whole point of flying, in their world, is just to get from the shore to the food. That's it. So anything more than that, any flying for joy or for excellence, it's not just seen as pointless, it's seen as a problem. And this right here, this is the metaphor where the whole thing just clicks into place for me. See, the system's rules aren't laws of physics, they're social agreements. But, and this is the trick, they are enforced so powerfully that they feel like physical barriers. They're like painted lines on a runway that everyone has completely mistaken for the actual physical edge of the world. So that begs the question, right? Why does any gull just accept these painted lines as reality? It's a great question, and the answer is all about the system's incredibly powerful incentives to just stay in line. What's fascinating is that this logic, it isn't evil or malicious. Not at all. It's a system that's just designed for self-preservation. It offers its members safety, security, that really deep comfort of belonging. But there's always a price, and that price is compliance. The minute you step outside those lines, you risk losing everything. And we hear this logic spelled out, clear as day, from Jonathan's own father. This isn't just some friendly advice. It's a direct order to get with the program. Stick to the system's purpose. Innovation doesn't get you fed. Conformity does. And then you get his mother's plea, which hits on a totally different, much more emotional level. This shows you the social cost of being different. It's about the disruption, the dismay you're causing. That need to belong, to not be a problem, that is a powerful, powerful force pulling everyone back inside the lines. So what happens when someone like Jonathan just ignores all those warnings and flies right past those painted lines anyway? Well, the system's response is swift, it's totally predictable, and it's designed specifically to neutralize the threat that he represents. It's like the system has this 4-step playbook it runs every single time. First, it takes his passion and curiosity and relabels it as arrogance. Then, his incredible skill isn't celebrated, it's condemned, like it's some kind of heresy. The final move? Make an example out of him to reinforce the rules for everybody else. I mean, think about this for a second. Jonathan hits 214 miles per hour in a dive. Objectively, that is the single greatest achievement in the entire history of the flock. But through the system's lens, it's not progress, it's dangerous. It's called reckless irresponsibility. Incredible. And this is the final page in that playbook: public shame and exile. This whole ritual, it's not really just about punishing Jonathan. It's a performance. It's a broadcast to every other gull watching that says, this is the price you pay for flying differently. This is what happens when you cross our lines. Which, of course, brings us to the really big question. If the system is this limiting, if it literally throws out its greatest innovators, why on earth does it last for generations? And the answer, I think, is surprisingly human. Systems like this, they last because they offer something we all crave: predictability. They take the terrifying, chaotic, unknown world and shrink it down to a simple, manageable set of rules. And that feeling of certainty, even if it's limiting, is a really powerful comfort. And this right here, this is the absolute core of it all. This is the system's ultimate magic trick. It convinces its own members that its rules aren't rules at all, but that they are fundamental laws of nature. Jonathan even falls for it himself for a moment, thinking, I am a seagull. I am limited by my nature. That right there is the crisis in perception, when a socially enforced ceiling is mistaken for a natural physical constraint. Okay, so let's bring this model home. Let's take this simple system of the flock and connect it to the much bigger, way more complex systems that we're all navigating every single day. This dynamic is not just for seagulls, is it? Just think about our own institutions. How many times have you heard a company talk about thinking outside the box, while all the actual incentives, the promotions, the bonuses, the social acceptance, all reward you for staying safely inside it? The pattern is identical. Security is the reward for compliance, and true system-challenging innovation carries a very real social cost.
And this just forces us to ask a really personal question, doesn't it? Where in our own lives, in our jobs, in our creative pursuits, in our own ambitions, where have we accepted a painted line on a runway as the actual edge of the sky?
So the crucial point is this story isn't really about one bird's personal ambition. It's a structural model for understanding the immense power that any system has to define and to limit what its members even perceive as possible in the first place. Crisis in Perception examines how systems shape belief and how better tools help us see clearly.
This project is free and publicly accessible. If you'd like to support the time, tools, and research behind Crisis in Perception, you can become a supporter on Patreon.
For a longer, audio-based analysis of this topic, see the deep dive linked in the description.
If you enjoy this kind of systems-level analysis, please like, subscribe, and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.